Tonight on CTV3 News, Carrizal resident arrested in Houston, Texas on charges linked to Mexico's CJ&G cartel. Belize High Court upholds central bank's authority in credit union shakeup. The court says the central bank had all authority to terminate former general manager of St. Francis Xavier Credit Union, Rafael Dominguez. In the community of Santa Marta, a fire ravages a structure, while cops managed to detain an individual for a stabbing incident that left an elderly man severely injured. And in the sugar industry sector, Belize advances climate resilient sugar industry with $25 million Green Climate Fund initiative. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, February 25th, 2026.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
ExpressNet now has up to 400 megabytes of high-speed internet. Choose the speed that fits you. From faster browsing to faster gaming. Connect more devices at once. Or bundle it with Express Plus and HBO Max. Internet and streaming entertainment, all in one.
Yeah, faster starts here.
Sign up today at any Centaur office or contact us to get started.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
The way some people are talking, you'd never know, but the most blatant nepotism and fleecing of BTL took place under UDP when Dean Barrow was Prime Minister. Barrow placed his son Anwar on BTL's board in 2009 as soon as he nationalized the company, which would eventually cost Belizeans almost $650 million for shares barely worth $200 million. By 2014, Anwar was appointed executive chairman with extravagant salary and perks. Under him, BTL spent wildly on ventures that did not materialize and never brought any returns. Under the Barrows, BTL's profits plummeted from $38 million in 2009 to $17 million in 2019, and $10 million in 2020, as the company hardly paid dividends to government and people of Belize. Anwar Barrow has no moral authority to talk about BTL, as it was under his nepotistic rule, appointed by his father, that BTL was most blatantly fleeced.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
Recently formed MOUs with the American Hotel and Lodging Education Institute, which is the education arm of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, and also with the American Culinary Federation to do culinary training. We're here to celebrate our accomplishments. This is not about replacing Belizean cuisine. This is about, we want the Belizean cuisine, we want the Belizean richness and diversity. Right, so this is about your skills. You all know what you all learned, so it's about transferring that skill.
We want to inspire this career because, you know, it's amazing. You love what you do, right? And it really is something that I think we can inspire other young Belizeans to undertake. And it's now part of your responsibility as those who have received this training and see a pathway for greater things.
Just to put it into perspective, there's only about 6,000 certified executive chefs in North America. There is only 69 certified master chefs in the world. There is less than 10 certified executive pastry chefs in this entire world. And now in Belize, we have 3 sitting in this room.
second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
Good evening with your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Word reaching Belizean authorities tonight is that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE has detained a Belizean national in Houston amid allegations of connections to the notorious Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, one of Mexico's most violent and influential drug trafficking organizations. The suspect, identified as Benigno Loria, is accused of having ties to the cartel, once led by the infamous El Mencho, who was killed on Sunday during a military operation in Mexico. Loria's background is marred by a history of violence and survival. He has reportedly survived multiple gunshot attacks in Belize. In December 2020, police found Loria injured at his residence in San Andres Corozal after an assailant entered his yard and opened fire, hitting him in the chest and leg. Less than 2 years later, in January 2023, Loria was again shot while driving in Belize City, further emphasizing the dangerous environment surrounding him. Today, former Commissioner of Police Chester Williams told reporters Loria was on the radar.
That you were the head of law enforcement for a while.
Yes, I don't want to comment much about it at this time, but certainly, yes, he was on our radar, and we have indeed gathered information that he was connected to one of the cartel groups in Mexico. And so when I saw the news that he was captured, it was no surprise to me. He fled Belize for whatever reason, and he went to the USA. I believe he was seeking asylum. I am not sure if how far he got with that. But like you rightly reported, he is now in the custody of the U.S. authorities, and it's a matter for them to deal with now.
And in other news related to the North, the Central Bank of Belize is reporting that the High Court has dismissed a legal challenge against the Registrar of Credit Unions regarding the termination of Rafael Dominguez as General Manager of St. Francis Xavier Credit Union, SFXCU. According to the Central Bank of Belize, the decision delivered on the 19th of February 2026 affirms the lawful and procedurally fair nature of the registrar's actions, reinforcing regulatory authority within Belize's financial sector. The case emerged following an extensive investigation into SFXCU's operations, which uncovered significant administrative and operational deficiencies threatening the credit union's stability. In response, the central bank appointed Marlo Neal as administrator to manage the institution's affairs. Dominguez, who had served as general manager, was suspended on the 10th of March 2023 amid these investigations. On the 13th of May 2024, the registrar, acting in his statutory capacity, directed the administrator to terminate Dominguez's employment. This decision was challenged by Dominguez on 19th of September 2024, claiming it was disproportionate, unlawful, and procedurally improper. He also sought severance and other benefits, alleging entitlement to over $800,000. However, the High Court's ruling solidified the authority of the registrar under Section 61(6)(d) of the Credit Union Act, confirming that the registrar has the legal power to remove a general manager when necessary to safeguard the credit union. The court further found that the registrar provided Dominguez with procedural fairness, including opportunities to be heard, and that the reasons for his removal were adequately justified. While the court dismissed most of Dominguez's claim for termination benefits, such as the remaining salary from May 2024 to July 2027 and various allowances, it acknowledged his entitlement to severance pay under the SFXCU manual. Nonetheless, the court rejected his specific calculation for the severance amount and ordered the administrator to determine the correct sum. On Wednesday, February 25th, authorities carried out a targeted operation in Roxborough Sandhill Village, resulting in a significant drug seizure. During the raid, officers uncovered 4 parcels of cocaine, collectively weighing approximately 4,385 grams, around 9.66 pounds. In addition to these large parcels, authorities also recovered an extra 109 grams of cocaine from the scene. The seizure marks ongoing efforts by police to combat illegal narcotics in the area. Cops have detained one man in relation to a stabbing incident that occurred at a farm located along the road to San Lazaro village. The altercation left 88-year-old Gabriel Tech suffering from several stab wounds. According to reports, Belizean farmer of Ewe Creek village, Gabriel Tech, was working at the farm when he was attacked by one Upton Charles Lopez, aka Negro Lopez, a 48-year-old Belizean farmer of Punta Gorda town. Tech told authorities that as Lopez accused him of stealing his groceries, the confrontation quickly escalated into violence, and that is when Lopez stabbed him on the left side of his chest and left arm with a farmer fork. Tech managed to remove the fork from his chest and walked towards the main road, where he was assisted by a Good Samaritan who transported him to the NRH. Upton Charles Lopez, as a result of the incident, has been charged for the crime of aggravated assault. The matter remains under investigation. On the morning of Sunday, February 22nd, 2026, at approximately 11:30 a.m., authorities in Orange Walk responded to reports of a building on fire in Santa Marta Village. The police, upon arrival, discovered a small concrete structure with a zinc roof measuring around 28 by 12 feet, completely engulfed in flames. The structure was located approximately 10 feet from the Hines main residence. The homeowner, 46-year-old Antoinette Elizabeth Hines, a Belizean resident of Santa Marta Village, reported that she was awakened by the fire. Damages reach a value of approximately $2,500. While the cause of the fire is yet to be determined, fire personnel does not suspect foul play. Coming up next, Transport Ministry denies reports of forced resignations amid transition to National Bus Company. Stay tuned.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails, paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
The Civil Registry Department and Vital Statistics Unit provides comprehensive information services to assist citizens in obtaining official documentation related to key life events. You can apply for birth, death, marriage, adoption, or deed poll certificates for records that have already been registered. You can also request tailored information extracts or certified copies of documents about specific life events. All Vital Statistics information services are available through the new Civil Registry and Vital Statistics System, CRVS. You can complete all services online from the comfort of your own home, or if you prefer face-to-face interaction or need additional support, you can visit their nearest office to complete any service. The new CRVS, digitally connecting citizens to all vital statistics services. Visit crvs.gov.bz today to access our services.
There's a saying I often return to, and that is a Chinese saying that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Today, Belize chooses now because Belize has always lived under the shade of the tree. Remember Sobumbra floreo. Our forests, mangroves, rivers, and farms are not just features of our landscape, they are part of who we are as a people. They protect us from storms, feed our families, support livelihoods, and anchor our resilience in a changing climate. But we also know this truth. What we do not protect, we will eventually lose.
Greening Belize, 1 million trees for climate and sustainable development. Our forest cover is declining, especially after the fire season. What will be achieved? Restore and reforested lands, significant increase in hectares restored by 2035. Enhance carbon sequestration. We'll have improved data, mapping, and reporting systems with this. Institutional readiness, feasibility study and design for a national forestry incentive program, community mobilization, which will build capacity and increase participation nationally, and improve governance.
For all environmentally conscious individuals and groups, CBOs, NGOs, community organizations, universities come in to do their part to plant trees to assist in the restoration initiative for the country of Belize.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
Primera llegada con peligro por parte de Paul. Vemos la repetición. Llegan los linderos del área. La número 7 llegó con todo Estamos en vivo, en directo a través del canal 53 de Centaur. Izquierda viene cámara. El número 7 saca el disparo largo. El disparo de cámara.
Nosotros somos los campeones, estamos listos para National.
Government is reaffirming its commitment to strengthening critical infrastructure within Belize's sugar industry with a renewed focus on the rehabilitation of sugar roads across the north. Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Trade with responsibility for sugar, Osman Martinez, says the condition for feeder and sugar roads remains a top priority for the administration, particularly as farmers continue to face challenges transporting cane to the mill during the crop season. Dr. Martinez noted that deteriorating road conditions not only slow down the delivery of cane, but also impact the quality of the harvest and increase operational costs for farmers. He explained that government recognizes the vital role that proper road infrastructure plays in maintaining efficiency and productivity within the industry. Dr. Martinez emphasized that investing in sugar roads is an investment in farmers and the overall sustainability of the industry. He added that government will continue working closely with stakeholders, including cane farmer associations and local contractors, to ensure that priority areas are addressed in a timely manner.
There has been a significant improvement. And just coming here today, I think you could have seen that there have recently been some work. MIDH, kudos to them and big them up. You know, they have been doing an excellent job. Last year we had a lot of rain, and because of the amount of rain that we had, they weren't able to start to work before the beginning of this year. But since the beginning of this year, they have been working nonstop. The complaints have reduced significantly. They can clearly see that the government is putting an effort. We have put in place a committee, a road infrastructure committee for the sugar canes, which is chaired by CEO Carlos Paul from the Ministry of Economic Transformation, where the four associations are part of it, the factory is part of it, and CIRDI. And with that, now we are coordinating that whatever the next harvest will be next month, we want to make sure that all those roads are fixed before they get in. So it's significant work, well coordinated, and we will continue to do that until the end of the harvest. Thank you.
Thank you very
The minister reiterated that supporting cane farmers through improved infrastructure forms part of a broader strategy to strengthen Belize's sugar sector and secure its long-term viability. The Ministry of Transport has issued a firm denial regarding recent claims that terminal employees are being coerced into resigning as part of the upcoming transition to the National Bus Company, scheduled to commence on March 1st. Chief Executive Officer Chester Williams dismissed these allegations outright, asserting that no instructions or directives have been given to compel workers to leave their positions. The clarification comes amid concerns raised by the Public Service Union, which suggested that employees might be under pressure during the transition process.
Now, in keeping with the spirit of the law, the Chief Transport Officer and the Legal Counsel for the Ministry, Mr. Sambola, are going around the country and are notifying the employees of the terminal, as they are the ones who are going to be affected by this, of the transition that will occur. From my communication with them, and also based on my instruction to them, there is no truth to them telling the terminal workers that they must resign by Friday of this week. What was instructed to them, and from what I have gathered from them, is that they met with the terminal workers, explained to them what is taking place, and gave them the options that are available to them. Now remember that the National Bus Company is going to need employees and will need employees at the terminal as well. And so what we want to do is to make sure that we have a transition period between the 1st of March and the end of August, whereby those persons who are currently employed at the terminal, and even those who are employed at the various bus companies that now form part of the National Bus Company, they will be brought on board with the National Bus Company, and they will have that 4 months period where they can decide if they want to remain with the company, or if for some reason they don't meet the criteria for employment, then we'll have to find ways for the terminal workers, how are we going to settle with them? Those who are employed with the bus companies that are coming on, their employer is going to settle with them before we bring them over to the National Bus Company. So they will start a new contract of employment with the National Bus Company.
As for the terminal workers who are unionized, they, along with their union representatives, are scheduled to meet with the Ministry of Transport to discuss a way forward.
And we already had a meeting set for Thursday, which is tomorrow, to meet those employees who are unionized along with the PSU so that we can have whatever bargaining. Now, I know for a fact that we have some terminal workers who may be employed for maybe 9 years plus, some having 10 years plus. Those with 10 years plus would be entitled to gratuity. Those with 9 years and not having completed 10 years would not yet be entitled to gratuity. But as a part of the bargaining tool, it would be wise to ensure that we take into consideration that these people will not be able to meet the 10 years mark because of this transition. And that's where the PSC will come in to see how they can bargain on behalf of these people, that they can get the best possible result from this transition. And so I want to make it clear that it is not the intention, and we will not disenfranchise nobody of their benefits. If anything were to happen, they must gain, not lose. And that is the spirit with which we are operating in this transition period.
Approximately 80 employees across 6 districts are expected to be affected by the transition, with authorities emphasizing their commitment to fair treatment and transparent communication throughout the process. A high-level review of Belize's flagship Sugar Resilience Initiative was held today as the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, CCCC, in collaboration with the government of Belize, met with representatives of the Green Climate Fund, GCF, to assess progress under the BACSAF project. The project, building the adaptive capacity of sugarcane farmers in northern Belize, is a multi-million-dollar climate adaptation initiative aimed at strengthening the sugar industry following devastating impacts from fusarium and other climate-related challenges. Funded by a $25 million grant from the Green Climate Fund, with an additional $13.8 million in co-financing through farmer loans and contributions from local partners, the project represents one of the largest climate investments in Belize's agricultural sector. Minister of State in the Ministry of Economic Development with responsibility for sugar, Honorable Dr. Osmond Martinez, expressed pride in the pace and scope of the project's implementation.
Most say we have the Green Climate Fund with us. It's the largest climate finance, or is the largest agent organization in the world that moves climate finance. Belize has positioned itself well to not only manage but to observe and implement climate finance. I was given the story to the other media hosts that 4 years ago we put in place the climate finance unit within the Ministry of Economic Development, at that time Ministry of Economic Transformation. No? And that was practically under the leadership and instructions of our Prime Minister John Briceño, and at that time Minister Christopher Koyi was the Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, and I was the CEO. So we put it together, and we also became the national designated authority for the Green Climate Fund. And this is the biggest project that we have been able to attract, or where I should say that we put a proposal to the Green Climate Fund, which became bankable, and now it's having a huge impact, not only in the northern part of the country, not only for the sugar industry and the sugarcane farmers, but for the country itself. And by having GCFs present on the ground to look at the product on the ground, that's a big deal, because it has never happened before. So for me to be here, practically I'm here saying to GCF, listen, the government of Belize is serious. We will continue to champion climate finance. We will continue to fight for loss and damage, which was approved at the UNCCC COP 27-28 in Egypt. And therefore, Belize deserve more climate finance simply because we are a carbon sink country. Nonetheless, we are a high risk to climate change.
Minister Martinez noted that significant progress has been achieved within a relatively short period, demonstrating Belize's willingness and capacity to effectively implement and utilize green climate financing.
Well, I am impressed with the implementation of this project, and I will tell you why. Simply because we have some projects, and I will call them, like the Integral Security Program under CABE, which was developed and designed in 2010, and by 2020, the implementation was at zero. That's 10 years later. Now, when you look, for example, at this project, the approval of this project, it was approved at the GCF Board of Directors on March 6, 2024. And since then, it has to go through their own legal and different processes to the point of getting the money into the country, which was this 1 year ago. And then within a year, you're starting to see the results, right? So this is a project that is being implemented pretty fast. GCF is happy where we are. We cannot drop the ball. We cannot put our guards down. We need to continue to emphasize to the accredited entity, in this case, GCF 5Cs, to continue its implementation rate as is. But the main objective, or one of their main objectives, is to look at replanting, which is very important for the industry, but also irrigation system and drainage, which is another two components that are critical for the industry. And critical is simply meaning that at the end, the yield per acre will increase, the operational cost will decrease, and therefore the gap between the revenues and expenditures will increase, meaning that there will be more money in the pockets of the farmers. And that's what we want to look at being able to move into an agro-productive sector that will be financially sustainable.
Dr. Martinez emphasized that farmers have shown strong support for the initiative, particularly in the aftermath of the Fusarium outbreak that severely affected production in northern Belize.
Well, when I speak to the farmers and the heads of the associations, and of the importance of moving from a traditional farming system to a modern and mechanized farming system, they have been very open. I think that they are seeing the importance of doing it. And one of the first indicators that they are seeing is the shortage of human labor. Therefore, moving into a mechanized system, it helps in terms of being able to still, be able to deliver their products, be able to make money at a cheaper rate. Remember that, or we always have to keep in mind that because of global inflation, the inputs into the agriculture sector in general are more expensive. Therefore, they have to look at logistics to see how you can reduce costs within logistics. And one way on how to reduce costs within the logistics is by moving on to the mechanized system. So the farmers are very open, they are willing to participate, and they do want to participate.
Project Director for CCCC with the BACSAF project, Darrell Audinet, provided an overview of the project's objectives and long-term vision. He explained that BACSAF focuses on supplying farmers with clean, climate-resilient sugarcane varieties and equipping them with the tools and knowledge necessary to modernize their operations.
All right, so the project, for the most part, is in its initiation phase. What happened is that, as you are aware, the Fusarium fungal outbreak has really affected the industry. And so we had initially intended to start with the establishment of nurseries, sugarcane nurseries. That was envisioned for last year, 2025. That was delayed. And so where we are right now is that we're starting that process of establishing those nurseries. For us to establish those nurseries, though, we have to secure clean seeds. And so what we're doing is that we're working with partners, including the University of Belize, to secure clean seeds through tissue culture. as well as with the BSI ESR in terms of providing clean seas through hot bath treatment. And so first and foremost, that's the first step. We're trying to secure those clean seeds, trying to identify lands and areas where we could replant, establish primary nurseries and secondary nurseries, and then move to replanting next year. We're trying to see how we could fast track that process, and so we're working along with our partners to see the best approach for us to fast track that. Keeping in mind that the project runs to 2029, and so we need to replant 10,000 acres. And so that is a process in and of itself. And so it's a monumental task, but once we have all our partners supporting the process, we should be able to. The Green Climate Fund is also here to make an assessment of how things are progressing, what are some of the challenges that there was a project we're facing, and then determine from their end how they could provide that technical and project management support. Adaptive management is a critical part of it, and so one of the things that we've been discussing is what might be some of the actions that we could take from a project management perspective to support us to meet the objectives.
Project organizers say the initiative extends beyond replanting to include climate-smart practices like improved irrigation, soil and pest management, mechanization, and solar drip systems. Farmers can receive up to 40% in grant funding to support these efforts.
Okay, well, what we need, and there's a agronomic science to it in terms of how much seeds are needed for acreages and so forth. But essentially, what is needed over the course of the project is about 1 million seeds. So that will give us enough material for us to replant those 10,000 acres. Understanding that there are challenges in terms of the survivability of some of those seeds, so we have to look at things such as irrigation, we have to look at soil health, and other elements that will ensure that we have success with those nurseries and the replanting process itself.
And in terms of the importance of getting these clean seeds as compared to what we were doing before, I know that you guys are trying to establish a more sustainable way of doing things, but what is the significance of these clean seeds as compared to what we were doing before?
Okay, well, what we recognize is that there's two parts of it, right? The first part is that we're introducing new varieties. So new varieties mean that the characteristics are different. Right now, the industry is about 70% of one variety, right? The B79. What that means is that you have one response to a situation, and Fusarium is that situation. And so the idea is that by expanding the scope of varieties, increasing the amount of varieties that we're looking at, that means that there's different tolerances to issues such as Fusarium. Now, when you're looking at tissue culture as well, that also eliminates the issue of us having the potential for transmitting things like Fusarium in and of itself. The traditional way of establishing or getting clean seeds is you plant and you cut at a certain time. That is not the best approach right now, especially with Fusarium. From a project management standpoint, that also means that if we make an investment in a nursery, we need to ensure that we get that the success of that investment. And so that is what Clean Seeds does for us.
By the end of the project in 2029, the goal is to have replanted 10,000 acres of sugarcane using varieties that have demonstrated climate-tolerant characteristics.
So the project has a transformation strategy that needs to be that's going to be one of the output. That transformation strategy is for the industry to plant beyond the initial 10,000 acres that we want to replant. So what that does, it looks at everything which would then be used to then transfer the knowledge, the lessons learned, all the replanting methods into the entire rest of the industry. I think the total industry is about 65,000 acres and above. And so the first 10,000 acres is to ensure that we perfect the practices so that could be rolled out to the other aspects of the industry via the transformation strategy. Success would for me, when farmers are being able to plant these these skins within their own system, right? So the diversifying their fields. The challenge that we identified was one of where one sugarcane variety took on all the risk. So this project is a risk transfer mechanism, if I could call it that, where we want to share that risk across the different varieties. And so once farmers get to that point where you have different varieties that are able to withstand different climatic impacts, and you're still able to generate income dependent based on whatever impact, because you have a variety that would perform under whatever conditions. For me, once we get to that point where the industry itself has diversified its seed or its cane, then I think that's where success would be.
Today's review meeting with GCF representatives provided an opportunity to evaluate progress, strengthen coordination, and reaffirm Belize's commitment to building a modern, diversified, and climate-resilient sugar industry. Belize's sugar industry has regained its footing following a mechanical setback that temporarily slowed production at the mill. Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Trade, Dr. Osmond Martinez, who has responsibility for sugar, addressed the recent keepbacks experienced by cane farmers after one of the mill's boilers broke down. The malfunction reduced milling capacity by nearly half for several days, forcing the factory to scale back operations and leaving growers concerned about potential losses. The interruption came at a time when the industry had been riding a wave of cautious optimism. After enduring a particularly challenging year marked by production difficulties and weather-related setbacks, this crop season had started on a far more positive note. However, the unexpected boiler failure quickly dampened that renewed confidence. According to Minister Martinez, the situation has since been brought under control and the mill is now operating at normal capacity. In a meeting held today with mill representatives, the minister said discussions focus on preventing similar disruptions in the future. He noted that millers gave their commitment to implementing more permanent solutions to address mechanical vulnerabilities and improve overall reliability.
So one of the boilers have consistently been, it has leakage. So one of the issues that they're having is that they are not processing the cane as it should be. The mill's capacity is 7,000 tons per day. We have reached 7,000 tons per day, maybe 2 times this season. But the average rate is around 6,000 to 6,500 right now, which the farmers are happy with. But yes, I had a meeting with, actually this morning, I had a meeting with Mac, and we started to strategize not only for this harvest, but for the upcoming harvesting. And they are serious, ASR is serious in making investments so as to increase the milling capacity. Because when we look at the forecast, this year is a year that is actually a bounce back of last year. So we are rebounding in terms of our production and milling capacity. But with the different work that is being done in terms of introducing new seedlings to move on into more of a mechanized system, the production next year will be much better, you know. And our forecast is that by 2028, 2029, we should be surpassing the record within the industry, which is 1.3 million tons, and our EM should be at 1.5 million tons. And so to get there now, we need to put all the players and the actors should be well aligned so that we can continue to work. And to do that, I had that meeting today. We had been in constant communication, and BSI, the ASR is willing to make that investment so as to increase the milling capacity.
And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
The way some people are talking you'd never know, but the most blatant nepotism and fleecing of BTL took place under UDP when Dean Barrow was Prime Minister. Barrow placed his son Anwar on BTL's board in 2009 as soon as he nationalized the company, which would eventually cost Belizeans almost $650 million for shares barely worth $200 million. By 2014, Anwar was appointed executive chairman with extravagant salary and perks. Under him, BTL spent wildly on ventures that did not materialize and never brought any returns. Under the Barrows, BTL's profits plummeted from $38 million in 2009 to $17 million in 2019, and $10 million in 2020, as the company hardly paid dividends to government and people of Belize. Anwar Barrow has no moral authority to talk about BTL, as it was under his nepotistic rule, appointed by his father, that BTL was most blatantly fleeced.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, texts, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
This building that we have gotten, the Welcome Center, is not just walls and it's not just here to beautify the Punta Gorda town and as an extension the Toledo district and Belize, but it's also here to play a main purpose and a role, and that is to continue to promote our tourism sector in Belize. This provides us a platform and a venue for us to be able to do multiple things in working towards enhancing the tourism environment in Toledo and really showcasing it not only to locals but also to our international guests, which are paramount for us to continue to grow this industry.
This project, like others that we're working on throughout the country, was designed and is being delivered by Belizeans. We have spoken to the communities, we've spoken to tourism stakeholders and what needs to be done to ensure that we have the necessary infrastructure to improve the quality of the visitor experience.
Prime Minister John Briceño held a brief side meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio during the 58th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting currently underway in St. Kitts and Nevis. According to the Prime Minister's office, discussions focus on the importance of relations between the United States and Belize, as well as the wider Caribbean region. Today, via text message, Prime Minister Bressender told reporters, quote, "It was a constructive one. I brought the challenges of regional security, especially pertaining to Belize, who I believe that we are the most vulnerable because we share borders with Mexico. I thank the U.S. for their support, but we need lots more help with equipment, intelligence, and training. I made the point that if these cartels come into Belize, we will be unable to get them out, and 5 to 10 years from now, it will be a totally different Belize. Therefore, the urgency to act now." The meeting took place on the margins of the CARICOM summit, where regional leaders are engaging in high-level talks on shared challenges and cooperation. The Belize Fisheries Department is boosting its scientific and analytical capacity through a 10-day technical program titled R Studio Training for Fisheries Data Analysis, currently underway from February 16, 2026. The initiative is being carried out under a Memorandum of Understanding between the Ministry of Blue Economy and Marine Conservation and the University of Belize, reflecting ongoing collaboration to enhance data-driven fisheries management. The training is facilitated by Dr. Arlene Rogers, Assistant Professor in the Faculty of Science and Technology at the University of Belize. The program forms part of the government's strategic allocation project, establishing the enabling environment for the development of a marine spatial plan through strengthened governance, improved management, and enhanced monitoring of Belize's coastal and marine resources. The project is funded through the Belize Fund for a Sustainable Future and supported by the Blue Bond and Finance Permanence Unit. The Fisheries Department says the investment in technical capacity will support sustainable fisheries productivity, improved marine monitoring, climate resilience, and the long-term protection of Belize's coastal and marine resources. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, February 26th here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read the text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.